Hi everyone. Just in the meeting a minute ago, Claire was sort of talking about when I was talking about sigil magic and setting intentions for manifesting. It's the perfect time to do it now because of the whole thing, because it's the start of Imbolc, and setting your intentions for the coming weeks it's a perfect time to do it now. Incidentally, tomorrow is a really magical day. It's the 2nd of the 2nd, 22. Which is a huge like angel number. It's also the start of the lunar calendar, the lunar new year, and it's tonight. It's a new moon as well, so it makes it an equally sort of thrice magical day. So anyway, as far as sort of intentions setting and sigil magic that I was talking about earlier with, and Claire was asking about it, I thought I'd do this quick little video. So what I've done is I've written down like my intention essentially. So financial abundance and financial security. So that's my intention, and it can be just it's sort of not too complex, but enough to sort of build on. And how it works is you write out your intention like I've done there, and then what you do is you cross out all of the vowels in that sentence or in that phrase or whatever it is that you've put down. So kind of don't make it too simple, not just one word or whatever, because it makes it harder to create a sigil out of it. So it's got to be something, maybe 4 or 5 words or whatever, that you can use to set your intention, but don't make it too complex as well. So you cross out all the vowels, and what you're left with is another set of letters that essentially has no meaning. So the fact that it's got no meaning, by crossing out the vowels, you take away the meaning that you've kind of, it's like an ingrained meaning of the words that you've written down. So by taking away that meaning, you drop that emotional attachment to the intention itself. So you don't carry too much you don't put the restraints on and the limits on that I was talking about before when it drops into your consciousness. You don't put those limits onto that because of the fact that you're not emotionally attached to it, because the words are meaningless. They're random letters now. They don't hold any specific meaning. So then when you've got to that point, then you cross out any letters that repeat themselves. So like the N repeats a couple of times. So you keep one N, and then you cross out all the other N's that appear throughout that series of letters. And you do that for all the different letters that repeat. Any letters that repeat, cross them out. And then what you're left with is just a series of, a short series of a few letters that essentially derives from all of that you've written above. So you've written the whole thing about the financial abundance and financial security above. You've crossed out all the vowels. You've crossed out any repeating letters. And what you're left with is this kind of few letters here. So then what you do is you use those letters to create your sigil. Now I've done like in the great sort of traditions of Blue Peter. Here's a couple I did earlier. So from this set of letters, what I was kind of left with and what I did after that are these. So these are the sigils. So these little designs, they become sort of imagery then, and the imagery is more powerful, and it stays in your mind longer than words do. I think we retain something like 30% of what we read, but we retain something like 90% of that which we see. So imagery is far more powerful than the words and than looking at the words themselves. So by creating this sigil, a sigil is essentially an ancient. What it boils down to is it's an ancient seal, and it was used as an invocation. It was used for all types of magic back in ancient times, possibly from even prehistory and at least a few thousand years old, if not before, possibly way before that. So it's essentially everything that you've just put your intention down, and it's created into this design. And you can be as creative as you want, as long as you use all the letters that are from this last phase of the sigil magic. As long as you use all the letters, you can essentially create any pattern, any shape, any creativity you like. And the whole point is putting your creativity into it. So making it look nice, making it look fancy. And the kind of more fancy you make it, the more likely you are to kind of put a lot of intention into it, because it takes intention and thought and intuition to kind of figure out where the letters go and how they all fit together to make something that looks fairly attractive. So that's essentially it. That's essentially what sigil magic is. And then once you've got to this stage, you can tear them out, cut them out, whatever, and fold them up and burn them in a candle. I tend to do it, over a cauldron, in my cauldron, and I'll burn it in my cauldron and do it outside usually, and let the smoke drift up into the atmosphere and away. And then once it's got to that stage, that's it. It's gone. It's out there in the ether, out there in the universe, and you're not standing in your own way, and you're not letting it sort of limit yourself. So that's a quick kind of brief lesson of what sigil magic is and how it works. So yeah, so set your intention, you write your intention out, take away the vowels in that sentence, take away any repeating letters, any letters that repeat themselves, and you're left with just this kind of few random letters. And then you use these letters to create your sigil. And then you burn it or destroy it however you want. Or some people like to keep it in a book and put it away, or however you want to do with it. But the idea is, the whole point is, you need to let it go from, from this kind of ego and consciousness. Let it drop into your subconscious, let it go, and let it take out there into the universe. So yeah, thought there you go. Hope that helps.